The theme of this forum has been green and inclusive transport. When we think of Uber entering a new market, wherever it may be in the world, that usually involves putting hundreds of more cars on the road. What can you do to be greener?
We actually believe that Uber is a very good complement to public transport in a way that it actually means that eventually it takes away the need for people to own private cars, which obviously has benefits in terms of congestion, emissions and parking. More importantly, we've also recently launched our Uber Pool service around the world, not only in the US, London, Paris, but also in cities like Mexico City, Jakarta, and cities in India and China. And that allows people going in similar direction with overlapping routes to share the car that they're traveling in and reduce the cost of travel for them, increase driver earnings, and most importantly, reduce the congestion and emissions in our cities.
If we look at inclusiveness, we are talking about technology that requires a smartphone or a laptop or a tablet or even in certain markets, a credit card. How can you be inclusive in that way?
And we're always working on different measures to be able to reach and serve all different demographics of people in the cities in which we operate. A few examples of those are launching a cash service in some of the developing markets in Africa for people who don't yet have credit cards. We recently launched in London wheelchair accessible vehicles to enable wheelchair users to have service. And most importantly, we also serve many underserved areas of cities that otherwise are not well served by public transport or taxis. But it's a continuous effort in dialogue with transportation authorities and regulators around the world of how we can increase accessibility.
You mentioned cities in a lot of that answer. What about outlying areas beyond cities? Because obviously there are taxi services in cities. If you want to be more inclusive, there's a whole market that goes beyond the city boundaries.
And something we're working on, what we've seen is that once we've grown our presence in some of the bigger cities, we're able to actually expand that to more rural areas outside. For example, in the US, we've actually got coverage in towns of just 80 or 100,000 people. With the peer-to-peer ride-sharing service, we're able to bring transportation at the touch of a button to people in those towns.
Now, you would have seen what the International Transport Forum had to say earlier this week about the for-hire market, and when new entrants come in like yourselves, the challenge that often presents to the incumbents. They're urging governments not to just tinker with the rules, certainly not to block you, but to try and work out what it is that customers need.
We would wholeheartedly agree. I think some of the challenge of models like Uber is that they work in a sector where the laws predate smartphones or Google Maps or anything like that. And that's obviously a big challenge for regulators. But to be able to achieve the real benefits of smart cities of the future, we need to have forward-looking regulation that's technology neutral and provides the measures and sort of guardrails that we need while also leaving it open for innovation.